Imagine this. You're just going about your day in Muskogee, Oklahoma, maybe taking a walk near the river, and you see something. Something completely, utterly bizarre. I mean, jaw-droppingly weird. We're talking about a whale. A 40-foot, 25-ton humpback whale.
Right. Not something you expect to see in Oklahoma.
Definitely not. And not in the water. No, this massive thing is just sitting there on the grass about, 5 meters from any actual water?
That's the report, 5 meters from the bank.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because this isn't just some, weird news flash. It's the heart of a really fascinating report we got from a source on the Scottsy Waring website. So today, our mission is to do a deep dive into this wild scenario and the really specific, maybe even extraordinary theories about how this could have possibly happened.
Yeah, what's really interesting is how the source tackles this. It doesn't just present the puzzle. It gives one very singular explanation, almost unbelievable, really. And it adds what it sees as supporting details, observations. It even gets into the supposed intentions of whoever or whatever the author thinks is responsible. So we're going to explore all those details and the pretty bold connections the author's making.
Okay, so the source jumps right in with an explanation, doesn't just leave it as a mystery. What is this singular, extraordinary explanation? How does it even begin to explain a whale in Oklahoma?
Well, it's direct, I'll give it that. The source claims a UFO abducted the whale. Yeah. And then just dropped it. Inexplicably. In Muskogee.
Dropped it. A 25-ton whale.
Dropped it.
Yeah.
And it goes further. The author actually suggests the specific alien responsible had, and this is a direct quote, an IQ of an ant.
An IQ of an ant. Seriously.
That's what it says. And it also states this whole thing is, quote, more evidence that humans have more love for animals than aliens do.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a specific take. An incompetent, maybe uncaring alien dropping whales. Does the source even guess why a UFO would grab a whale in the first place, let alone ditch it in Oklahoma?
Not really, no. It doesn't get into the motivation much beyond implying, clumsiness or maybe indifference from the alien pilot. Instead, it focuses on what it presents as evidence for the UFO theory. Like, it makes a big point about the scene. Completely clear. No vehicle tracks anywhere near the whale.
Ah, okay. That is an interesting detail. No tracks. So the argument is no truck, no crane, nothing conventional could have placed it there without leaving marks.
Exactly. That's the implication. No tracks means unconventional delivery.
So what other evidence does the source put forward for this pretty incredible claim?
Another thing it highlights is reports made to MUFON.
MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network.
That's the one. The source says there were 5 UFO sightings reported to MUFON, right there in Muskogee. And crucially, these sightings were reported that very same week the whale appeared.
5 sightings in 1 week. Coinciding with a stranded whale.
The source definitely wants you to connect those dots.
Okay, so they're building a case. But, UFOs have been linked to weird droppings before, right? But usually small stuff.
That's true, and the source actually brings that up. It mentions past anecdotal reports, stories of UFOs being linked to things like live salmon suddenly appearing, or frogs, snakes, even worms, sometimes crystal jelly balls, apparently, just showing up in people's yards.
Crystal jelly balls, okay. But still, frogs and worms are one thing. A 25-ton whale is another level entirely.
Absolutely. It's a huge leap in scale. But the source is pretty emphatic about it. It states, and again, this is pretty direct, only a UFO could have carried this whale 400 meters from the ocean to Oklahoma.
400 meters? Did it say 400 meters? Or miles? Oklahoma's a bit further than 400 meters from the ocean.
Ah, good catch. Let me recheck that exact phrasing in the source. Yes, it actually says 400 meters from the ocean to Oklahoma, which geographically doesn't quite add up, does it? That might be a detail lost in translation or just an error in the source report itself.
Okay, yeah. 400 meters seems unlikely, unless it means 400 meters altitude. Or maybe just a mistake. But the core point remains. The source insists only a UFO could do it, regardless of the precise distance mentioned.
Precisely. It's presented as the only possible conclusion, despite that odd detail. It frames it as the definitive answer.
So the case is bizarre event, UFO theory, no tracks, MUFON sightings nearby, and a pattern of past smaller droppings. It's a picture, all right. Does the source mention anything else? Maybe something a bit more down-to-earth happening alongside this?
It does, actually, and this is important. It also reports that a team of biologists from the University of Oklahoma, they've arrived on the scene.
Ah, okay. Scientists.
Yes. And their stated goal is exactly what you'd expect. Examine the whale, collect samples, run tests. They want to determine scientifically how the cetacean ended up in Muskogee. So even within this really out there narrative, the source acknowledges a standard scientific investigation is underway.
Right. So, where does that leave us? Let's try to sum this up. We've taken a deep dive into this, well, truly astonishing report. A 40-foot, 25-ton humpback whale found on the grass in Muskogee, Oklahoma, 5 meters from the water, miles and miles from any ocean. And the source we looked at offers this incredibly bold explanation: UFO abduction and an accidental drop, attributing it to an alien with, quote, an IQ of an ant, and using it as, quote, more evidence that humans have more love for animals than aliens do.
And pulling that explanation together involves, according to the source, several key pieces. The lack of vehicle tracks, which is a critical point for them. The 5 reported UFO sightings to MUFON in Muskogee that specific week. Those historical anecdotes of UFOs linked to smaller droppings, salmon, frogs, snakes, worms, even those crystal jelly balls. The firm statement that only a UFO could manage transporting the whale this far inland, despite that slightly confusing 400 meters reference. And importantly, the acknowledgement of the University of Oklahoma biologists are now on site, conducting their own investigation, collecting samples, running tests.
It really is a story that just completely defies conventional logic, isn't it? It leaves you just thinking, how? How could something that massive end up so incredibly far from where it belongs? You really have to wonder what those biologists are going to find.
And that brings up a really interesting question, I think, for you listening. When you're faced with something like this, an event that seems to just shred the rulebook of known science and logic, and you have a source offering an explanation this extraordinary, this specific,
Hmm.
how do you personally weigh that information? What kind of evidence would actually satisfy your curiosity here? And maybe more broadly, what is our human impulse to explain the unexplainable, especially with such fantastical stories? Sometimes, what does that reveal about us?